The Prime Volleyball League in India is scouting for talented players. It will also support the athletes financially and give them a platform to showcase their talent. India won the silver medal in volleyball in the 1962 Asian Games and then bronze in 1958 and 1986 Asian Games. India appeared in the World Championship twice but never in the Olympics. But safe to say volleyball as a sport in India has been on the decline. Ciara Michel is a well-known British-American volleyball player who was a middle blocker. She learned to play volleyball in Miami, Florida after her parents moved there. 6 feet 4 inches tall, Ciara, or Ci as she calls herself, was selected to represent Great Britain in the 2012 London Olympics, where she led her team to a history-making win over Algeria. In a special chat with NNIS Sports, Ciara Michel, who is now a commentator on the Prime Volleyball League, said India will repeat their history in volleyball. And the game would find a lot of traction here.
I love it. I only got to see the first season, obviously, online through videos. But it seemed like a spectacle. It seemed like a lot of fun. It seemed like a high level. But then when I got here and I actually have a chance to be a part of it and see it in the flesh, I mean, it is mind-boggling to imagine being a player out there. I wish, A, I wish you had a women's league, and B, I wish I could have played in it when I was still a player, because the added excitement from the points, the special points that you guys have, you know, the 15-point system, the super serve, the super ace or super point, all of those extra added sort of characters to the game are so much fun. And then the lights and all of the spectacle of it is just, yeah, it's something really special to be a part of, even if I'm not even on the court, but I can see how it could be really fun for the players too. That's a great question. The $1 million question. In every country, there's always a guerrilla sport. You know, let's say here it's cricket, in the US, it's American football, or in England, it's soccer, football, whatever they call it. And there's, you know, it just trickles down from there. I think there's space for volleyball. I think there's an appetite for volleyball. And I know that the product that we have, that we are creating, that the PVL is creating, is going to be strong enough to fill that spot, because it's exciting, like we talked about, with all of the points and the rules. Volleyball already I love, but the way that this league, it's really consumable. It's really, you can tune in and be like, oh, what's happening? And you can kind of catch on really quickly. It builds enthusiasm and excitement. I mean, you should see us in the commentary box. We're standing up and jumping up and down. And I've played volleyball for long enough that it doesn't always excite me, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, bump set spike, good job. But this is so much fun and so exciting. So I think, yeah, we're competing against cricket. Maybe we are, or maybe we're just competing for that second spot. Either way, I think there's absolutely, it's going to do well. What inspired me? Oh man, my sister played, so I just wanted to do whatever she did. No, we in my school, it was offered as a sport in my school, and I was super tall as a kid, so I didn't really have a choice but to be athletic as well. I started with basketball, and there was way too much running and jumping and too many throwing of elbows. So volleyball I like because it's you and your friends and your teammates on one side, and then it's the enemy separated by a barrier, so there's no contact, which I love because I'm a big wimp. But I love the physicality of it. I love the speed of it. I love the teammanship, the camaraderie, all of the things. I love it. This is something that's really discussed throughout the sport, because we're trying to popularize it everywhere, right? Not just in India. And I think one of the first steps is it has to be accessible to the masses. It has to be consumable. It has to be seen. It has to be on the platforms where people are consuming their sports and their media and their entertainment, because if you don't see it, you don't know it exists. It's kind of like that, you know, if you don't post on Facebook that you went to the gym, did you really even go? Yeah, so the more that it's in the media, the more that it's on TV, the more kids are going to look up to it and see it and think, oh, that's something I would love to do. And then you kind of grow this grassroots program that builds over time, and then the strong players come up through the ranks, and then you have a strong international team that can compete with the rest of the world. And then all of a sudden, that national spirit kicks in. Oh, my team is pretty good at this sport. I'm going to become a fan of this sport. So it's really like cyclical like that. And then there, once that happens, there's more appetite for it. So it just continues that circle. So I think we're starting off in the right direction, just putting it on TV here in India and making it accessible. Also, I love what the teams are doing on social media. Every time I log into Instagram, there's clips and there's highlights and there's reels and there's videos and there's, they're making characters out of these athletes, which, I don't really care that much about basketball, but I know who LeBron James is and I care when he says something and when he's doing something. So the more that we can show it on TV and make characters out of the players, make them like superheroes, larger than life, the more that I think it'll grow. It kind of just became the norm for me. I love traveling. I love different cultures and experiencing different things. So Italy by far has the biggest volleyball culture. They love the sport. So I felt like a little bit of a celebrity when I was playing there. But other than that, it's a great way to, for me, it was a great way to live my life and travel and get some experiences that you wouldn't get if you just graduated from college and went and got a 9-to-5 job. So that's what I love about sport. It's a totally different lifestyle. You kind of have to get used to being away from home for a while and not seeing your friends that much and missing some weddings and birthdays and births. But once you get over that, you realize it's the best job in the world. And I wouldn't have traded it for anything. It feels like forever ago now. So I haven't even thought about that match in forever. But I guess you're right. I guess it was kind of a historic moment for us, a big one for us because we came in as the underdog and no one really expected much out of us. So even just to get that W was a feeling of like pride, and all the things we had worked for kind of came to fruition. It's not a gold medal. You can ask David Lee about winning a gold medal at the Olympics, but for us, it was some kind of validation for all the effort we had put in, and just, it's fun to have a win. That's so tough. No, I have no idea. I loved playing, but as I got towards the end of my career and I realized, okay, you're getting a little bit too old to be hanging out with these 19-year-olds wearing spandex and knee pads and shoes all day. So when I started to get to the end of my career, I was just thinking, like, what else am I good at? What could I transition these skills into? Because you can't just say, kind of like write a resume saying you're good at blocking or serving, because nobody in the real world cares, as it turns out. So yeah, that's when I turned to making my YouTube channel and focusing more on giving back to the sport in a way of like helping young kids if they wanted to figure out how to get into professional volleyball. I wanted to provide the answers to them, because when I went pro, that didn't exist. There was, there were gatekeepers and you had to know the right people and you had to have an agent. I was like, you know what? I want all of this information to be accessible to anyone that's curious. So just started my YouTube channel, started making podcasts, started doing, just lots of that kind of content. And it just led one thing to the next. And now I got here to be commentating, and I love it. I love it. So I can't say which one is better, because right now commentating is better for me, but at the time playing was better. Oh man, that's tough. Um, well, I don't know about my favorite of all time, but I remember before going to play in Italy, um, there's an Italian middle blocker called Valentina Arrighetti, and I had played against her in the Olympics, and I had looked up to her because she's a middle blocker. She's super strong and really like feisty. And then I remember being so starstruck when I met her, because we actually ended up as teammates. We played on the same team. And that was kind of one of those moments where I realized, man, all these players are just humans. You think, oh, she's so incredible and she's probably so, you know, too cool to talk to me, or why would she care? But we actually became really good friends, and that was kind of that was a fun moment for me. Favorite sports person other than volleyball? Man, that's tough too. Um, you stumped me. I can't think of anyone that comes to mind. I mean, I could say like LeBron James or something, but that's just
If
a name.
you can pick three,
No. I think they could repeat some of those medals. I think that there is probably a little bit of work to do to compete at the international stage, but once the players have an opportunity to show what they can do, I mean, leagues like this are helping. Also, this might be a platform for them to then go over and play in Europe, and then you'd kind of be building a super team. I think the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.